day sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Sorry. We are the Bingo Baptist Hospital. We are representing them among the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Board. My name is Rachel Bacon. This is Michelle Sapulo, and this is Delphine Fonkamp. And I'm going to be covering the issues and gaps, our pilot proposal, our technological intervention, and what we need to purchase to make it necessary. And Michelle's going to talk about our strategy to do this. Delphine's going to do the budget, our impact, and our sustainability plan. This is Bingo Baptist Hospital. It was established in 1952 originally as a leprosy settlement. With time, it grew in 1965 to cover ear, nose, and throat surgery, general surgery, a residency program, and rehabilitation. By 2013, the hospital has the capacity with 579 staff members and 280 bed capabilities. Our agenda today is to talk about our introduction, our situation analysis, our goal, our strategy, impact, and questions. All right, now I'd like to paint a picture for you guys. This is Maria. She's an inpatient in the maternal child health ward. She's just had a new baby. Now she's been discharged and she goes home. However, something's wrong. She knows that her child is acting a little strange and she needs to go back to the hospital to get this checked out. She returns to the maternal child health ward, in which case they tell her, you need this prescription in order to get better. We're going to send the order over to the pharmacy and you need to show up, pick it up, take it as needed. So she does that. She travels to the pharmacy. But when she gets there, they don't know who she is. They don't have this order. They tell her, come back tomorrow. We need to go to MCH, the Maternal Child Health Board, and ask them what your prescription is. She has to travel 10 miles back home and then travel 10 miles the next day to get back and get her prescription. She weighs these options and she doesn't come back. There are some gaps in the system present. There's a lack of communication and efficiency. There's a lack of a patient identification system between the departments in the hospital, between the pharmacy, between the maternal child health ward, as we saw with Maria's case. How do you measure her compliance to the pharmacy orders? The maternal child health ward doesn't know if she ever went to pharmacy. They don't know if she got what she needed until it's too late and they're told there was a mistake. The interdepartment communication is clearly stunted by the lack of a technological streamlined means of doing so. So what can we do? Our goal is a pilot program between the maternal child health ward, the pharmacy, and the lab. We're going to implement a patient identification tracking system through the technology of an intranet web that's going to use an open MRS software to log patient identification information and assign them a unique barcode identifier to be scanned in and out of the registration for the departments. So, according to the literature, doing EMR projects is a huge task, which is why we decided to go with the pilot. The pilot will narrow down our intervention to the 3 departments to not overwhelm the capacity of the hospital. So how does this work? It's kind of an abstract thing to go on about technological interventions and implementing intranet and scanning people's barcodes. It might be a little hard to conceive. In our proposal, we've handed out a visualization of our intranet, which is going to be set up through the acquisition of 3 routers, 2 servers, and computers within the maternal child health ward, the pharmacy, and the lab. This way, patient identification can be registered, and each patient has a name and a place inside of the software. Remotely, without wireless necessarily, we're going to run completely off of the internet. As in this visualization, they register through the barcode system that they're uniquely assigned. The barcode, because the patient ledger system is fragmented, some patients have booklets that keep all their records. So what we want to do is print out the barcode and attach it to this booklet for returning patients. That way, if they come, the reception desk can find them by scanning it and see in the system their existing patient files. That way, if they check into the pharmacy or the lab, They can pull up their information easily, see their prescriptions, figure out what's happening. And most importantly, the departments are talking to one another. There's communication present. Registration is simple. We're going to put them into the Open MRS software, which they already are familiar with and are trying to implement, which is the electronic management software system. And they print out the barcode that, again, is assigned to their unique identification number and put them in the system. And now I'm going to hand it over to Michelle for the strategy.
Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are we going to do this? How are we going to put in place this system, the patient identification and tracking system? First, because the patient tracking and identification system is a new service, is a new technology, our strategy has 4 components. First is the acquisition of the IT equipment. Second, the computer, everything Rachel just said. Second, we need to the integration and the mandate of the PTIS policy. Because it is a new service, we need to integrate and mandate this policy. Third, we need to train the people, the staff at the IT, the maternal child and maternal child health, at the lab, and at the pharmacy. And lastly, we need a strong coordination, monitoring, and evaluation of the project. How are we going to do this? To do that, to manage the project, we need to set up a management structure, a project management team. This project management team would be, supervised, overseen by the management, the bingo hospital manager. And under the bingo hospital manager, we'll have the coordination unit of the project with a director, a coordinator. And under him, we have the administration and finance leader. And after, we'll have the monitoring and evaluation leader or chief, unit chief. We'll have also a clinical unit that will be composed with the 3 clinical services that are involved in the pilot program. The maternal child health, the pharmacy, and the lab. And lastly, we'll have in this project management team the IT unit chief. I'm going to give Delphine the opportunity to continue to walk us through the 4 objectives of our project.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to go through this very fast. So our first objective is to make sure that the equipment is acquired and installed. And to do this, it's a long process because in our budget, we have, we're hiring 3 staff, the key players. We're hiring a project director, we're hiring an IT person, and we're doing consulting, and also the software and hardware needed for this it's not something that's going to be readily available, so it's a long process. So the first, we're going to dedicate a lot of time to make sure this happens. And then the next thing is the hospital will need to implement a mandate, like the literature that we found about electronic medical records or any kind of computer-based software, computer-based systems in the hospitals, is that the hospital actually needs to make a policy mandate the use of it, to switch from the paper-based to the computer system for it to work. If they're using both, it usually doesn't work. So that's going to be what we'll be focusing on. And under Objective 2 in our M&E plan, we've put indicators there to make sure that the staff integrate these activities into their current job title. So it's not additional work or anything. It's now what their job entails. In terms of Objective 3, it's going to be training. So there's going to be 2 phases of training. We're hiring an IT consultant who is going to be the main person who understands the system, and he's going to have to transfer this knowledge to an in-house IT person. Then this in-house IT person is going to, through the coordination of the project director, is going to implement the training within the different units. And then, so here we're just talking about, so because this program is something that Bingo Baptist Hospital would like to not only limit to the MCH department, because right now we're just going to be tracking MCH patients through the lab and the pharmacy. That's it. So, but they would like to roll this out to the rest of the hospital, and if possible, scale it up to other hospitals in the system. So because of that, the coordination and monitoring of how this program is going, what some of the bottlenecks are, how it can be improved, is going to be really important. So we have a monitoring and evaluation specialist who is going to just be doing that to be able to create recommendations at the end of the pilot project. So our budget is $79,000, and it's mostly staffing, equipment, and training. So back to Maria. So if this program is implemented, the next time Maria comes, she's going to be assigned a unique patient identification number. She's going to have her ID. She's going to have a barcode stuck onto her patient booklet, so that when she goes to the lab or pharmacy, they'll be able to scan the barcode and look her up and figure out what prescription, what drugs they're supposed to fill for her, and they'll be able to see her information. So that's the big change that's going to happen. So the impact of this is going to save Maria's time. It's going to save the hospital time. It's going to save Maria. Maria's going to. So Bingo Baptist Hospital is going to be able to see more patients instead of spending so much time going through paper files or trying to communicate between themselves. And we know this will work because the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Board has been in Cameroon for over 60 years. Like Rachel said in the beginning, they started as a leprosy center and have grown. Now they have four large hospitals, and they have over 25 health centers throughout the western part of Cameroon. Also, we know that Cameroon Baptist Convention is committed to this project because in their 2011-2015 strategic plan, they've included improved patient service, improved efficiency of patient services at the hospital. Oops, sorry about that. Also, because Cameroon Baptist Convention has been around for a long time, it has created great partnerships with international organizations and even with the Ministry of Health in Cameroon. So we are very positive that the impact that this pilot program is going to have on the hospital is going to encourage sustainability, and Bingo Baptist Hospital is going to be able to find the partners locally and internationally to be able to roll it out to other services. Michelle has the final word.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, when everything is said and done, I want you today to remember just one thing. Do you really want to make a difference? Do you want to make history? Me, of course, yes. Please join us in helping Bingo Hospital and the Cameroon Baptist Convention in bringing in the country, introducing this patient tracking and identification system for the first time, an EMR-like system. for the sake of the people in Cameroon. This may be a little step for America, but it will be a big step for the Cameroon. Like sir, you said earlier, we can do this together. Thank you.
Victorine, are you still there?
I am very much there. Please, I could get a chair and I'm getting the presentation going on.
Good.
Great.
Did you
Yes.
like it?
Sorry.
Here, the points are there. I got it well.
Excellent. Victorine, we're going to hear some comments from our external review panel, and I hope you'll be able to hear those.
I would like to hear.
Great. Well, we'll open it up to the review panel. Whose turn? Steve, you're up again.
Let me go. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks. Wonderful presentation. It was, I love the variety of the topics that everybody. I mean, the different projects that you have when compared with the other groups. This was very, very focused, but very targeted. And I'm curious, what happened to Maria's baby? Do we? Because I never heard the result that she didn't come back, but she'd spotted something different. So things weren't quite right, but I hope he turned out to be fine.
We hope so too.
I guess
That's the thing. It's a terrible situation, but it's an all too common one.
Yeah.
So that's what we definitely wanted to highlight.
Well, certainly the problem was I thought, brilliantly presented with the way you had her move from, initially bringing the child to the MCH to the clinic, and then trying to go to the, the pharmacy and the lab, and all of that. But I guess as a skeptical donor, funder, I'm not totally convinced that revising the paper-based system wouldn't be in some ways a simpler, better way. I mean, I don't know. Certainly, your computer-based system, it looks good. I'm not very experienced in that. It sounds good, but in the experience I do have, very often these systems. I'm glad you're doing it as a pilot, but very often these systems do not work very well, and I've seen a lot of places where people end up doing both. They do paper and they have to do twice as much work. They do the computerized system and the paper system until such time as the computerized system works, which can take a long time.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think being a pilot is exactly the right thing to do. And I think again, there's clearly a problem, patient identification, tracking, but I just wonder whether you didn't say anything about exactly what was wrong when Maria tried to get her baby taken care of, but as far as what the paper-based system what it needed in order to work, maybe you felt it just couldn't work. It wasn't fixable, and you had to go with the computerized system. But I do get a little nervous about that. You can see I'm a nervous Nelly. I worry about
it's
things.
a big change.